In the darkness, some pony coughed. Who was it? Silence regained. Who? A dim violet light sprang into being. Twilight Sparkle's horn barely illuminated the cramped windowless room and the 6 ponies within. A world of dark purples and inky blacks sprung into being, colors distorted by the monochrome aurora of magical implement. Shadows pooled in the corners, lurking just beyond the reach of the unicorn's spell. Rainbow Dash watched as Twilight glared into of their friends in turn. None spoke. Silhouettes danced along the walls, and the unicorn moved her head, causing a light to jerk and shift. Pinkie Pie huddled near the barred door, her eyes uncomprehending as she stared into an uncertain distance. The baker twitched slightly, squeezing the bag of flour that she clutched so tightly onto her chest. Onto the room's only bed, Rarity lay next to Applejack, with her head buried in the farmer's shoulder. The dressmaker shook as she sobbed quietly. Dash didn't even know whatever the unicorn's distress or was because of their situation, or because of the hygiene. The room reeked out of the unwashed bodies, and Rarity's mane, like every pony else's, was tangled and knotted and hung heavily with filth. Applejack, for her part, merely started to stolidly back at Twilight Sparkle, with the librarian's gaze turned in return. And then those eyes were on Dash, and they were on Fluttershy. The two were locked in embrace. It was their only comfort they had in the room. Whatever pony found her voice was the other Pegasus began to shudder. What doesn't matter? Twilight's light Sparkle's brow furrowed. Get serious here, Dash. It's better for 5 of us to go and get this than none of us. Coughing is the only warning we get. Fluttershy's whisper carried on through the enclosed space. Couldn't we, wait and see? It could just be dust or a cold. Please? I really wish we could risk that, Fluttershy, Twilight said, the sharp edge of her voice softening slightly. But there's no going back. Once it reaches the final stage, you saw what happened back there. Do you really want that in here? Applejack sighed, then spoke up. She's right, Sugar Cube. It's not contagious until the end. We got a choice to make it 1 death or 6. Rainbow Dash gritted her teeth. Isn't there anything else that could be done? Can't your magic cure it? Stop it? Slow it down? She paused and then a hoarse whisper. Anything? The unicorn shook her head. Even the princesses can't cure it. She can only contain the outbreaks that do happen. Every carrier has to die. It's the only way the rest of us can be safe. The only way the rest of Equestria can be safe is, Dash. Time matters here, and why are you stalling? The Weather Pony's mouth then worked, but no words came forth. Fluttershy's voice, suddenly confident, filled the gap. I coughed, and it was me. Rainbow Dash gasped at the other Pegasus. Eyes were wide with shock and horror. The pink-maned mare turned to look at her and spoke once again, hesitant. It's okay. It'll be okay. I couldn't live by myself if any of you died. I could have prevented it. It's better this way. Dash shook her head slowly, whispered single, No. Applejack's voice was grim. Her mind is made up. It was a tough choice, but Fluttershy's got the strength of an ox inside. How is she going to? The Pegasus trailed off. Twilight Sparkle sighed and slumped onto the floor. We don't have any weapons, and I'm not trained in combat magic. Even if I were, it can't be me. It has to be you, Dash. What? Why me? The unicorn looked away. I know you were well enough to realize that you'd never just stand aside and let one of us lay a hoof on your filly friend. Maybe intelligently you'll know what is necessary, but your emotions get the better of you. Ask yourself, if it has to be any of us, would you really want any pony but yourself to? Rainbow Dash rose at her hooves. You're right, the mare's voice was hollow. She took a step away from the other Pegasus. Applejack spoke. Fluttershy, sit up and put your head against the wall. It'll be a mite. The mare choked back the tears. Quicker. I'm so sorry, Rainbow Dash. I wish there could be any other way, Twilight said. The rainbow-maned Pegasus looked over her shoulder to meet the eyes of the mare she loved. Fluttershy had taken the Earth Pony's advice. They stared at each other silently for a moment. Eventually, Dash was found of words, and insignificant as they were. I'm so sorry. I love you. I'm so sorry. The other Pegasus replied while shaking. I love you too, and I forgive you. It's better this way. Just make sure some pony takes care of the animals when this is all over, when everything is back to normal. Rainbow Dash whispered. I promise. She took a careful aim one buck, and it would be quick. Fluttershy deserved it that much, at least, when she's sure to connect vision or not. She spoke. Cut the light, Twilight. No pony should have to see this. The horn's glow disappeared. The years of running and kicking clouds honed Dash's muscles. She rid up her front legs and gathered all of her strength, and kicked out. She connected with the dull thud, was accompanied by the sensation of warm droplets splattering across her flank. It was followed by a high-pitched moan from the agonizing pony behind her. Rainbow Dash reacted to Fluttershy's continued suffering without a thought. She reared again and bucked repeatedly, steadying herself and adding force with swift flaps on her wings. On the fourth kick, the mare's neighing stopped, and the sickening crunch. Whatever mare's hooves dropped back to the floor. She stood shaking, her eyes widened and her heart beating nearly out of her chest. Her fetlocks were drenched in sticky blood. She could feel it beginning to clot. She wondered, and despite herself, whatever the mess would stain, whatever her coat will always bear with the red residue of her deed. She wept quietly to herself. Silence regained. In the darkness, some pony coughed. And that, my little pretties, was My Little Pony, The Cough. A My Little Pony, creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? I actually really like this story. Now, this story was written by Ebon, and I honestly really like this pasta. I actually still find this one to be, an enjoyable concept. I really do like this story. Now, I remember reading this story, I think back in 2017 or something. Or maybe I can't really honestly remember when it was, but I think this might have been when was the last time I actually took a look at the story? Oh yeah. I think I actually took a look at this story back in 2017, or maybe it was 2016. But I wasn't really into creepypastas at the time, but now looking at it, I honestly still really like this story. I honestly really still do. I actually found this one had like a good concept. I really do like how this went out. Kind of similar to like this. I know, having like a story based on like kind of like an illness going on. It's kind of reminds me of the Loud House, the Virus series, or The Lost. I don't plan to narrate that story, but I remember the ending of it wasn't that great or anything because of, well, the author losing interest in that story. But okay, getting back to the story, doing something based on an illness, like a disease or something, I know it's not really the easiest thing to do in a My Little Pony story. Doing something, doing something like this in a creepypasta in general, that's not really easy to write it as good as this one. Nowadays, it's not that easy to, something that I see all the time. But with this, on the other hand, this author managed to make this work really well. Now, I've remembered hearing creepypasta narrating this before, but I wasn't into creepypastas at the time. But now looking at this again, I found this story to be, well, amazing. Now, I do remember the Lost narrator narrated this, and I think the Dark Reindeer did the prequel, but I'm not really sure if he did this one as well. I think he did the prequel, but yet again, I really don't remember because, it's been quite a long time since I've, last took a look at that story. But this story was definitely a pretty, one of the fewer My Little Pony stories that were good. There is a sequel to it, I believe, but yet again, I don't really know. But, I love how the movie went out. Well, not movie, but, the concept of this. The grammar of this story was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, the grammar was good. The sentence structure was well done. The storyline was flat out fantastic. I I gotta say, it's actually a pretty good story. I honestly really do like how the story went out. I honestly really found the concept to be, rather amazing. I really loved how the whole, storyline of this, it's just really well done. I mean, doing something like this in like a creepypasta, I'm gonna say right now, it's not the easiest thing to do. I mean, I know the Loud House, the Lost, or the Virus series managed to do something like this, but with that story, though, the only thing different is that the author of that story lost interest in it and just threw in just not a really great ending. But yeah, besides that, I still really found this story to be, enjoyable. I still like this one. It's pretty good. And if I had to say, one thing I also like about this was the way that it went out very, very well. Like, the way it has the ponies, all the Vein 6 living in isolation because of whatever disease or anything going on. Fluttershy gets sick and they ended up putting her out of her misery because of that. I mean, I know it's kind of sad seeing Fluttershy die. I was pretty sad when I heard Fluttershy died in that one, but I mean, like, it still managed to incorporate that very well. The author managed to incorporate that really well. Like, incorporating, stuff like this, it's not really easy thing to do with creepypastas nowadays. I mean, like, it's really hard to make, a good pasta just as good as this one. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, there are some people that go out of their way to make something good. So, I'm not gonna deny that. There are people that go out of their way to make something good. And this one honestly managed to incorporate, the concept really well. Now, although with that being the case and that being said, I honestly still find this one to be a pretty good, interesting concept for the whole episode itself. I mean, I really haven't, watched the narrations of this in a while, but I decided to go ahead and, take a look at this one and decide to narrate this. So, I did see a couple narrators narrate this, and whoa, it's a pretty good My Little Pony pasta. This is actually one of the fewer My Little Pony pastas that managed to incorporate pretty well, like incorporate the concept and all that. In a sense, you would understand. Anyways, what else did I think? If there's one thing I really would have to say that I didn't really care about this one, that would have to be the fact that, Fluttershy ended up getting, whatever disease it was, and then she dies afterwards. I mean, I get that this is like an older story, so there's definitely that. But, I mean, like, it was kind of sad to see that Fluttershy ended up dying, but it's still a pretty good, concept. I still really found this one to be, still an enjoyable pasta, really good and well made, and I still really like how, the story of its own self was really well made. So, I have to say, it's a pretty good My Little Pony pasta. Now, what would I say that I didn't like about this story? Does that kill it? No, it does not kill it at all. I really found this one to be, an enjoyable story, really good, well made, and I honestly found this one to be, quite an enjoyable concept, and I really do find this one to be amazing. So, I guess with that being the case, that being said, I haven't really, looked at this story in a while, but this is the first time I looked at it in like quite a long time. Now, anyways, with that being the case, that being said, I guess I'm gonna sit here and wrap up this review. Like I'm gonna say right now, and like always continue to say, this is simply my own personal opinion. If you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story would have to be I'm gonna give this one a 10 out of 10. It's a really enjoyable creepypasta. It was definitely well made for My Little Pony. Again, like I said, the author managed to incorporate, this pasta in a really realistic way of what's going on with the ponies. It was really done beautifully. I know it was sad a bit at the end, when Fluttershy dies, which is very unfortunate. But if you guys want to read for the story for yourself, it's on fanfiction.net. It's the original writer of the story was Ebon Main. So yeah, pretty good story. Really like it, and I suggest you go check this story out. And also be sure to go and check out the other narrations that other people have done on this on the channels, on their channels with this story. So, anyways, that being said, what did you guys think of this story? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what would you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you're brand new here on my channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.